Hi everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay. Um let me make sure that everything's in working condition. Can you all hear me? Let me know if the sound's good. Let me know. Let me know. Baby Bunny's protesting. Okay, girl. She's upset. Can y'all hear me? Let me know so we can get started. All right? And while we wait a little bit for people to get in here and those notifications to go out, we're gonna get the intro going. Thank you for being here, everybody. Y'all hear me? Perfect. Hey, Wim. All right, let's get this intro going so we can hit the ground running with this true crime, very interesting news. Okay. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for being here. Listen, hit that like button, please, and thank you. Okay, we're gonna get into this true crime situation. I was sitting down, minding my business, paying attention to social media, and it came to my, news feed that the Innocence Project is gonna be helping Mr. Scott Peterson. So let me tell y'all something. I'm not surprised by the news, believe it or not. I want to say about 2 years ago, I was listening to a podcast where I was listening to some attorneys go back and forth, like criminal attorneys go back and forth on the Scott Peterson case. And they were talking about specifically how they felt like Scott Peterson is innocent. Okay. Yes, that's what it was. It was said. It was said. So for those that don't know the Scott Peterson case, I mean, that is I think I was in high school and the Scott Peterson case was going on. So Scott was convicted of 2 counts of murder, first degree with special circumstances for killing his then wife, Laci Peterson. Laci Peterson was, I believe, 7 months pregnant around the time. Okay, and she was the circumstances of way in which she went missing, everything else. Then we had a like mistress that appeared. Her name is Amber Frey. Why did that like I out of all the things I can remember about the Scott Peterson case was Amber Frey. Girl, Amber Frey was what I could remember. Y'all remember? See, I heard that yes, there was. There was. I had heard I about 2 years ago. I had heard. So when I heard this news on my, minding my business, checking out social media, I saw that. I saw that the Innocence Project was going to be helping. So yeah, like I was like, oh, okay, well, Listen, let's get the news and then we're going to talk about it, okay? And we're going to put some old clips of Miss Amber Fry and, she has since moved on and everything. I know there's been a lot that has happened with this case in the last couple of years. Mm.
That the Innocence Project has taken up the notorious case of convicted killer Scott Peterson and is seeking evidence from the original trial. For more, let's bring in our Alex Stone in Los Angeles. Alex, I can't believe it's been 20 years since the death of Laci Peterson. You and I both covered this story. I did when I was a reporter there in Los Angeles. What kind of evidence are we talking about, and where do you see this going?
Well, we're just beginning right now, Kira, to go through this document that we have obtained exclusively that shows that the Innocence Project is now at least beginning to take up this case of Scott Peterson, asking for evidence from the original trial, saying that they want to look through that evidence. Historically, when the Innocence Project gets involved, they only get
Yes.
involved if they believe they can win a case.
Let me make sure that we all understand that. Y'all understand that? The Innocence Project typically gets involved when they know they can win a case. You understand that? So yeah, when this information is coming on my news feed, I'm like, well, what is it that the Innocence Project has as far as evidence that none of us knew? Okay? Yeah, 20 you, thank you. 20 years. Shake my head. Nancy said first he said he was golfing, then claimed that he was fishing at the marina, where 3 months later parts of Laci's remains and baby Connor were washed up. I mean, what could the Innocence Project have at this point? 20 years? 20 years? You feel like, okay, I totally conflated this with another case, but still I have mixed feelings. A lot of people do. And okay, let me just play devil's advocate for a minute because the media will do a number on us, myself included. Maybe is it possible that we all got it wrong? Okay, I was in high school, so I wasn't doing true crime then. But when that man was found guilty, we closed the books and it was like 20 years later, here we are. Is it possible that everybody got it all wrong all along? No way. You said no way he did it. No way he did it. Cynthia, for those that are coming, I'm going to tell you a small little recap. Today, today breaking news. The Innocence Project is getting involved, is helping in the Scott Peterson case. If y'all don't remember who Scott Peterson is, he was convicted of killing his then wife, Laci Peterson, and unborn child. I believe, I'm pretty sure he's sitting on death row, okay, in California. So what had happened? He lied, then he had the mistress. You know what I'm saying? No worries, my love, Cynthia. Thank you for asking for a recap. Mm. I was in high school. I couldn't get into true crime then, but still, yeah, he's still. Thank you so much, Bunny. Shout out to Bunny Bunny. He is on death row. He's sitting there. Now you got to remember something about California death row. They sit there for quite some time. So I don't. We could look into that. When is his execution date scheduled? I don't know if we know that yet. He did it. Casey Anthony did it. Both tried to revamp themselves up to 20 years. Nope. He told many lies. All right. Listen, yo, because the comments that you guys left me on my community post, some of y'all are saying he could be innocent. We gonna do a little poll, okay? We're gonna do a little poll.
This appears to be the beginning stages of the Innocence Project getting involved. Some of the evidence they lay out of a burglary near the Peterson home around that time, making the allegation that maybe, at least it's been out there, we know the Peterson family has talked about it before, that maybe somebody else committed this crime, killing Laci Peterson and their unborn child on Christmas Eve in 2002. The fingers were pointed at Scott Peterson. His family has always claimed he didn't do it. It appears with this filing that the Innocence Project will be making that claim.
Well, let's just go back to his young wife, 27 years old. She was pregnant, and all the evidence after her death that led right to him and why he was convicted.
There was a lot of evidence, and as you mentioned, we both covered it. We spent a lot of time in Redwood City, where the trial was held over many months, and then the sentencing in 2005, I believe, when he was actually sentenced. But the case, the trial in 2004, there was a lot of evidence that came back to him of a fishing trip that he had gone on, and her body was found in generally an area where they believed he had been in. They knew that he had been having an affair. Amber Frey, you remember her name coming
Y'all
into all of
remember?
this,
Y'all remember?
and her testimony and information that came into it. There was quite a bit of evidence to convince a jury. Now, in the last year or so, his family and he have really made the claim that he is innocent. They got his death penalty sentence tossed out over juror misconduct. He has claimed that one of the jurors, actually one who was quite well known at the time with bright pink and bright red hair, that she had not disclosed some things when she got on the jury, and that would have made a difference. The judge ended up giving him life in prison a number of months ago instead of the death penalty, going off of death row, which is still technically at San Quentin, even though they've pretty much disbanded death row in California. So there have been a lot of changes to his case here in the last year or so, but this is a big development. If the Innocence Project is getting involved, appears to be asking for evidence to begin making a case that either he should be released or that he should get a new trial. We're going through the documents right now to better understand them.
ABC has now.
Okay, so they're asking for new evidence. Some of you guys said it was circumstantial. All right, Chaos says, I'm from the Bay Area, was pregnant same time as Laci. He did it, period. Whoa, look at you guys. Rightfully convictions and believe you rightfully convicted and believing he's guilty are two different things, says Souls. All right, y'all go vote. Because I'm telling you, the people were divided. All right, let me see what you guys are saying on these votes. And while you're voting, do me a favor and hit the like button. Okay, so I got 125 votes, right? 88% said yes. 12% said no. Are you kidding me? I mean, y'all said he's guilty. He said, Fancy Nan says, this rocked our community. It's so sad. My heart breaks for Laci's family. I want to know what the Rocha family wants to say about this. Like Sharon Rocha said in court, divorce to get out of marriage, not murder. Absolutely. You voted wrong. You meant to say guilty. I believe he was a dirtbag. Okay. Some real questionable evidence, circumstantial evidence. Okay, look at you guys. All right, most evidence is circumstantial. Indirect evidence, like eyewitness, can be very questionable itself. Y'all are really coming in this chat like the wow. Okay, well, shout out to everybody for being here. I am just wondering, okay, because apparently we have their exclusive from the Innocence Project. We have their little Twitter, and I'm going to show it to you guys. Oh, did they remove it? I think they did. They did remove it. Well, okay. Basically, what it said, and I'll just tell you guys what it said. I'll read it. See if it works. I've obtained court documents that show the LA Innocent Project is representing convicted wife killer Scott Peterson. Okay, this is a post from their exclusive breaking news. They're asking for evidence that may point to others in the death of Laci Peterson and their unborn child in December of 2002. Their bodies were, and then it stops right there. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat what y'all think, okay? We can't dismiss the Innocence Project success. No, you can't. I'm telling you, when the Innocence Project gets involved, they get involved and they truly find stuff. Okay, that means they don't just get involved to get involved. You guys know what I'm saying? So you can't discount whatever it is that they might have. Let's watch this Amber Frey interview from like 2 years ago. Well, no, not 2 years ago. This was back in the day.
This week, the Modesto Police Department was made aware
Y'all
of
let
an
me know
article that was to appear
in
in
the
the National
comments.
Enquirer, revealing new information regarding Laci's case. Out of respect for the family, the police department felt they should provide the information to them directly so they wouldn't have to read it in the media. At that time, the family members were shown very recent pictures of Scott and a girlfriend.
Okay, first of all, I met Scott Peterson November 20th, 2002.
Jesus.
Scott told me he was not married. We did have a romantic relationship. I am very sorry for Laci's family and the pain that this has caused them. And I pray for her safe return as well.
Amber Frey had contacted Modesto Police Department on Monday, December 30th, 2002. She met with detectives and gave information about the relationship with Scott Peterson. And Amber Frey has been eliminated as a suspect in Laci Peterson's disappearance.
Amber Frey was a single mother who was fixed up with Scott Peterson through a friend. She was his girlfriend, and she thought she had met the man of her dreams.
Just a refresher.
I was just starting my career in massage therapy. You know, my daughter was very young, very small, and a single mother. He was good looking, he was nice, he was funny, and attentive.
You know what, Remar says? It's possible. Lies and cheating don't mean murderer. From what we have heard, no. But again, it's possible. And it's times baby girl even said something earlier. Like, we don't know. This news makes me so sad for Laci's mom. Now she has to relive the horror of what Scott did to her daughter and grandchild. All right, did the Innocence Project get it wrong? Brown spotted eagle Amber Frey is shady. You need the whole picture. Listen, well, I want to know what evidence, because you already know this is going to come about, right? That there was evidence that was held. You know, we weren't shown this evidence, okay? Like, I'm just telling y'all. I just have a feeling that that's going to happen.
Has been murdered, it's a nightmare. But when your child is accused of murder, that is also a nightmare. And that's the situation for the parents of Scott Peterson. He's on trial now in California for the murder of his wife, Laci, and their unborn son. The Petersons have rarely done interviews and have not talked publicly at all
I don't know,
since the
Bridget.
trial began a month ago. But recently they did speak to Barbara. The judge has imposed a gag order on speaking about details of the case, but the Petersons can certainly talk about the son they say is innocent.
Wow.
In this Redwood City courthouse, the trial of Scott Peterson for the savage murder of his wife Laci and their unborn son Connor is expected to last as long as 6 months. For the families of the victims and the accused, the case has taken a heavy toll. Scott's father, Lee, who owns a small packaging business, and mother, Jackie, are convinced of their son's innocence. Hundreds of miles away from their San Diego home, they and others in the Peterson family have pledged to remain at Scott's side, whatever the emotional and financial cost.
Let me stop right there. You know what? Barbara Walters has a voice that you will forever remember. May she rest in peace. That is Barbara Walters there. All right? She was on this case. She was on this case. Simply Monica says this case was circumstantial. So they may feel they have a case, but the circumstances are changes his alibi, the cement he took fishing, leaving on Christmas while she prepared to host his family and dog. Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. Cece says, "Oh my God, the man was trying to leave the country after he murdered her, like OJ. Guess another wife killer may go free. There are obvious people who need help in prison. I absolutely do not believe he's one." And not to mention his search history. Did he have a search? See, the cement acres, cement anchors. I actually left a comment on A&E series or something like that. Oh my gosh, Scott got closer to the border than OJ did. Mm. Yeah, why'd he take off? Well, why do they take off? That's a good. Why do they take off? Right? His parents have thrown big bucks in trying to free him. Okay, and do you think that this is the case right now? That the parents are trying to free him and this is what they do and they're throwing the dollar bills? His parents have thrown big bucks in trying to free him. Both he and his family pulled some shady crap during all the searches and during the trial. Listen, I remember watching the dramatized version on Lifetime about the Scott Peterson case. So, I, like I said, I was in high school. I was not in true crime like that back then. OJ went to see Nicole's grave. Duh, doesn't mean he killed her. Ooh, Debbie all caps this. Debbie wants y'all to know in the chat. Listen, because I'm sure this comment wasn't just to me, it was to everybody. Shout out to Debbie. She says, OJ went to see Nicole's grave doesn't mean he killed her. Well, I mean, OJ Simpson is a whole different thing, right? Right? What was the if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Come on now. Yo, all right, let me stop. Wow, I'm mind blown. I was like 12, and the only thing I remember is Amber Fry. Tell me, why is her name so like in my head? Amber Fry, because it's an easy name to remember, but I do remember Amber Fry's name. You said I was like 12, and the only thing I remember is Amber Fry. I feel for her right now, and I swear there's a video surveillance of his truck. Yes, there was. Wasn't there, Vic? Wasn't there did you mention in the chat there was video surveillance? It talks baby girl says the innocent project does not take anything they do not believe, and there is a chance to have it overturned. I 100 agree. I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. It talks baby girl. Like I said 2 years ago, it's crazy. 2 or 3 years ago, I was listening to this podcast, and these two attorneys were arguing about the Scott Peterson case and how they felt like he was innocent. And that was the only podcast I'd ever even heard entertain that. So this is an interesting situation that's happening right now. I do believe that if the Innocence Project has it, it's because they're looking into it and they're planning to take it on full on. Did she passed away? I'm assuming, right? I could be wrong. You guys correct me in the chat. Somebody did say that his mom had passed away. Vcaster is I'm in. Well, this is the crazy part. What they're saying is that they're asking for evidence, but people are curious to know what evidence they have. Jane says from the news article, Scott Peterson and 15K in cash, 4 cell phones, full wardrobe, gun, and Viagra found in his car when he was arrested for the murder of Laci after Fast and Furious chase. They found Viagra. Are you serious? Thank you, Miss Jane. I just read that. Thank you for I was going to read your comment because it was very interesting, but thank you for the $10, love. Shout out to Miss Jane. They found Viagra.
With $15,000 cash, his hair dyed blonde, a goatee, 12 Viagra pills in his brother's driver's license, 4 cell phones, and camping gear near the Mexican border.
I don't even remember that. Did they really find the Viagra? He was using his brother's ID? Yes, I heard about this. Girl, no. All right. All right. Let me play devil's advocate. Okay. Let's just say, and I'm going to go back to Miss Jane Brown's comment. Okay. Let's just say that, okay, this happened, 15,000 in cash, 4 cell phones. He just decided to take a little vacation and get some Viagra. He wasn't running away from law enforcement. He just wanted to drive very fast. I'm just thinking of a different scenario, right? Because I'm also thinking, well, what do they have? That like where is the Innocence Project at? Yeah, I don't remember the Viagra. He needed what? I don't know, man. I don't know if he needed it. I don't know, man. I'm just saying different things that could have happened. Okay. All right, yo. Yeah, and in the disguise, don't forget. I'm just wondering what the Innocence Project has that we don't know. Is it possible Scott Peterson, you know, ran Fast and the Furious truck, Viagra? What is it that we're missing? Like, what else are we missing that the Innocence Project would have been like, yeah, this is definitely a case that we got to look at? I'm just wondering because you guys got to understand, I am so surprised by the Innocent Project. TD, I don't think the Innocence Project, Los Angeles Innocence Project are the same organization. There's a Southern California Innocence Project that is part of the Innocence Project. TD, is it because they hold the name? I mean, what is it that they could have? You didn't read. Y'all got to read the question before you hit the yes poll. Make sure you're hitting the like button, please, and thank you. The Innocence Project would not jeopardize their integrity and credibility over Scott Peterson. All right, so they got something. They got something. I'm wondering, it talks baby girl. Like, what is it do you think that they're holding? I mean, if you're a legal in the chat, let me know. Like, what are your thoughts about this? Because
There's new
I'm
evidence
kind of
that
curious.
proves his innocence. Fox News senior correspondent Laura Ingle has more.
Fox has obtained this exclusive photo of Scott Peterson with his family taken during a video call from San Quentin State Prison last year. Peterson is actually sitting in a concrete cell in this photo. That's a virtual backdrop behind him showing a simulated window and trees. It is the first time we have seen Scott Peterson behind bars outside of his multiple mugshots after his arrest in 2003. It's been 20 years since his wife Laci, who was 8 months pregnant, vanished from their Modesto home on Christmas Eve. Peterson was found guilty of the murders and received the death penalty, which was overturned in 2020. Now he's in prison without the possibility of parole. On April 19th, he filed a new petition in a California appellate court seeking his release. The 800-page document lays out 6 claims, some involving what Peterson and his family members are calling new evidence about a burglary across the street from the Petersons' home around the time Laci vanished, which they believe will exonerate him.
This is all evidence that the Medina burglary occurred the day that Laci went missing.
His sister-in-law, Janie Peterson, told me in February they still believe he is innocent.
No one has ever given a scenario that fits the evidence and explains how Scott could have committed this crime.
I asked retired Detective Al Brocchini, who worked the case, about the theory.
100% no. No way. We'd know. Those guys, they polygraphed, they confessed, they went to jail, they gave us all their info, we confirmed their alibis.
Peterson, who lost access to his previous lawyers at the end of December, hopes to be assigned new counsel to address these new claims in his appeal. In New York, Laura Ingle, Fox News.
About this because I'm kind of curious to know, what is it that we don't know? Okay, so that was back in 2004. And Candalee, thank you for being a member for freaking 7 months. You are amazing. Thank you for being a supporter. And oh my God, Team Maker 52. 502. Thank you. Not 52. 502. Thank you so much for gifting memberships. You guys, let me stop for a minute and let me thank all my supporters. Thank you, Teammaker, for gifting. You are amazing, you guys. If you have a gift from Teammaker, channel supporter, make sure you drop in that heart in the chat and say thank you to Teammaker. Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to all the members that have received. Okay. Yeah, let's keep watching. Eve's like, whoa, yeah, I know. Some people get like, I get it, but we're adults here. Okay. We're adults. We like to have civil discord over here. Okay. Well, and then, he was also contacting Amber Frey around the time, he was having conversations with her, making sure she was okay while he was going through here and, she living the double life. Okay. Like, let's just put and again, this is back in 2004, right? So clearly, we're here. Let's just put it out there. The man was having an affair, clearly, and his wife, a whole girlfriend, a girlfriend that also had, a child, and she thought they were planning a future together, if y'all remember. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just saying. Teammaker says, sorry.
I want to thank you for your patience. We'd like to preface the news conference by requesting that you respect our willingness to inform the media to limited information that does not compromise the investigation. Ms. Amber Frey will make a brief statement and she will not answer any questions. Today, because of extensive efforts by some members of the media, Amber Frey was identified and contacted by reporters at her place of business. She notified the Modesto police and out of contact and this her safety and privacy. She is prepared to give a statement and she will not accept any questions. Ms. Amber Frey.
Okay, first of all, I met Scott Peterson November 20th, 2002. I was introduced to him. I was told he was unmarried. Scott told me he was not married. We did have a romantic relationship. When I discovered he was involved in the Laci Peterson disappearance case, I immediately contacted the Modesto Police Department. Although I could have sold the photos of Scott and I to tabloids, I knew this was not the right thing to do. For fear of jeopardizing the case or the police investigation, I will not comment further. I am very sorry for Laci's family and the pain that this has caused them. And I pray for her safe return as well.
I would appreciate to my friends and acquaintances to refrain from talking about me to the media for profit or recognition. I am a single mother of a 23-month-old child, and I ask to respect my privacy. Thank you.
Amber Frey had contacted Modesto Police Department on Monday, December 30th, 2002. She met with detectives and gave information about the relationship with Scott Peterson. This information was verified by a variety of means, and Amber Frey has been cooperative in the investigation and has been eliminated as a suspect in Laci Peterson's disappearance. For the near future, we've asked Ms. Frey not to make any statements to the media. It is her desire that you respect her privacy. Please don't follow, harass, or make any other attempts to interview her during the investigation. This concludes the press conference. And just a reminder, again, as we have in the past, we'll notify you if there's a significant event occur, give you ample time to respond for a presser. I will try to answer some questions, but I'm still limited, as I have been for the last month, in my response. We'll take, hold on. We'll take one question at a time, and I'll decide who's going to make, yes, sir.
Can you spell her last name?
F-R-E-Y. Amber. Yes, and you will have, we will have a news release that should be available any second, as soon as it comes down from stairs.
Can we talk about whether Scott was romancing her even after Laci disappeared?
Again, that's going to be one of the areas that we're not going to go into. Yes.
Did she tell you anything about where he was on Christmas Eve? Did they speak to each other?
I don't have that information. Right here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. She's 28 years old. Any other questions?
Has she given the police any information that furthers your case a little bit?
The only information that we're giving out tonight is what we've already reported on and given in this press conference. We're not going to talk about any other information that she might be involved in as far as the investigation is concerned.
So when was the last time that she spoke to them?
Again, we're not providing that information.
How did she learn that?
I think she stated in her statement that when she found out that Scott Peterson, who was, she notified the police department. That was her statement. Yes.
Did Scott have or not have $250,000?
Again, that's an area that we're not covering in the investigation. Denise.
Where and how she and Scott Peterson?
Again, we're not going into that part of the investigation. Yes.
What was the date you said that she called you guys?
It was the 30th, I believe. December 30th.
What made you rule her out as a suspect?
The investigators have a variety of ways that they've been able to eliminate her from the investigation.
Can you tell us how long they've been taking her?
I can't.
Did you see her after they
We're not going to go into anything pertaining to Amber and Scott Peterson. We will not be discussing any part of those other than what we talked about tonight. Yes, ma'am.
She actually did say she was introduced to him, and I didn't catch who introduced her.
No, I don't remember that in her statement either. I read it before it came out here. Yes.
She said that when she saw that Scott was involved in her disappearance, she called police. Did she just misspeak when she saw that he was the husband? Is that what she meant? Do you know?
Her statement, I believe, said that she did not know that Scott was married at the time that they had this relationship. That was her statement.
Did they have any future plans? Did she talk about that?
No, not that I'm aware of. Yes.
Can you characterize how helpful she has been in your investigation?
Again, as we reported a minute ago, she's cooperated in the investigation. We've eliminated her from.
You know, we really do appreciate the media and all the effort and attention to help us find Laci. You have been a tremendous help in getting the word out on Laci. I do believe our entire nation and possibly most of the world is aware that Laci Peterson is missing, and we want to find her. We want to find her and bring her home. Now, what this is starting to do is border on pretty close to being destructive. We're not going to discuss with you relationships. We're not going to discuss where or when or how. We've given the information that we feel we need to give, and we need to give that information so that a young woman who had the courage to come forward and give us information will not be harassed as she tries to go on with her life.
Why did you bring her forward today, tonight?
Because media people located her and were contacting her.
Is she from Fresno?
I'm not going to discuss where she's from.
Was Scott forthcoming in the
The investigation is moving forward, and we will continue to move the investigation forward.
Was Scott the one who told the detectives that he was involved with the girlfriend or with her?
Let me do this one more time. We're not going to talk about what we have been told. We're not going to talk about what people have said. We've given the information we can give. The investigation is going to continue. Yes, Ted?
The family today asked Scott Peterson to cooperate completely with the Modesto Police Department. Could you again give us an indication of his level of cooperation for
I cannot. I won't comment on those things. Okay, I'm gonna try to answer Ted's question. Okay, Ted, Laci's family is going through a horrible time, and you all saw Laci's family today, and they're dealing with their life as a family. I am not going to comment about Scott. This department's not going to comment about Scott. We're not going to comment about the investigation. And so, I mean, I know it's frustrating to you that we can't make this case a public understanding of everything that's involved. We cannot do that. It wouldn't be appropriate or right. So we're not going to talk about those things. Laci's family has information that they've decided to share. I respect that. I appreciate what they're going through. And, you know, their appeal today, you heard it. Okay, now I'm going to go back here. Well, that's our focus, is to solve this case and get Laci home.
You think you can clear as a suspect?
She's been eliminated as a suspect.
Based on what?
No, I cannot. I won't discuss that.
Were the Roach Peterson family notified that she was going to come out tonight and speak publicly?
Yes.
Chief, as far as, we haven't talked in a while, so as far as someone backing up Scott's story that they saw him at the marina, anybody come forward yet?
You know, we're just not going to go down those paths, and we're not going to discuss those things. The investigations continue to move forward. I believe, when I checked just before coming down here, have received close to 4,500 tips on the tip line at this point in time. There are continuing information and leads as the investigation evolves that we have to follow up on, and we're doing that.
Are you any closer to finding Laci now than you were the last time you briefed us?
I don't believe there's a significant change that I can articulate. Are we closer? I hope so. I don't know.
Is Scott now considered a suspect?
We have not eliminated Scott Peterson from this investigation.
You know where he is now?
I don't know.
What about forensic evidence?
We're not going to discuss any of the evidence.
Is this still a missing persons case?
Yes, this is still a missing persons case.
It's not considered a homicide case?
Well, this is still a missing persons case. We would love to find Laci alive and well and bring her home safe.
Is the police department keeping tabs on where Scott's going?
We're not going to discuss that.
What's her profession?
Whose?
Amber.
Not going to talk about that.
Has Amber had any contact whatsoever with Laci's family?
We're not going to discuss Amber. Amber gave you her statement. You have the information that Amber was comfortable sharing with you. She's asked to have her privacy respected. We are going to do that. We're not going to comment about Amber, her private life, where she works, where she lives, any of those things. Amber wants to be able to go on with her life.
How did Laci's family learn about Amber?
The question earlier was, did we talk with the family? Yes, we talked with the family, with Laci's family.
Conducting any searches organized by the police, either inside or outside the county?
We are continuing with searches. We're not disclosing where those searches are. And yes, there are searches that are continuing. Okay, we've about wound it down. There's other things I need to do and that you all need to do. I do not want to leave you frustrated and angry. I do appreciate the help you've given us. The media has been critical to this investigation and getting the word out. Thank you for your patience.
I'm just saying. Teammaker says, sorry, but if I'm fishing in an area and a body turns up of someone I know, you might as well say that person is guilty. Oh, wow. I'm just saying, right? What do you guys think? He's out there helping, yet he's having like an emotional affair and physical affair with another woman while his wife was missing, full on pregnant. Many lies in this case, including the day of the neighbor's house robbery. There's a documentary exposing the lies. Kelly, like all of this is making me want to go back and look into the Scott Peterson case because, like I said, I was in high school. If y'all remember this case, where were you at? I was in high school. I graduated in 2003, so I had just graduated high school when all of this was going on. But let me know in the chat where y'all were at. Yeah, Evie, right? The chat has a lot of details because everybody like remembers this. Kathy, Amber wrote a book? See, I didn't know that. Is it on Audibles? Because I might check it out. All right, I want to know. Molly says, I worked in the justice system, and if I was in his shoes, I would have run to the media, had control of the case at that point. Back in 2003, 2004, the media was different than it is today, right? And what we have access to and what we can find out. I mean, I'm just saying. You were in high school too? Okay. All right. You were pregnant. I was pregnant on bed rest. Oh my God. You and Carol were pregnant. Wow. You were working? Rabbit making me feel old. Try not to. Shout out to Wim. Where's Wim? I hope he's doing okay. Shout out to my Wim. You guys drop some hearts for Wim. Working, parenthood between, okay, parenthood between third and fourth child. You were a newlywed. You just had your third son. Okay. All right. You were having your second child. I was in high school when they killed Selena. Drew, I was in fifth grade when they killed Selena, fifth or fourth. Yeah. So, I mean, this is like, wow. Some of this. All right. Probably the second grade. See, we got all ages over here. Yeah, she wrote a book. I didn't know that. Now I'm going to have to go and check it out. Amber Frey book. I will read it and check it out and see what we learned from Amber Frey. I would not want to be in that neighborhood when that was going on because I remember the paparazzi and the media was like all over there. That neighborhood couldn't even do crap around that time. Molly says we may never know everything, and there was evidence that was not presented in court, including a witness that reported they saw Laci, but their testimony would have blown their timeline. Okay, Molly, I remember. Actually, that's a good point you said. I remember that there was testimony that was it a neighbor or somebody who said, I saw a pregnant woman walking a dog. Like somebody, I remember that very, like, it was out there that there was a witness who saw a pregnant woman walking a dog. I don't know. I remember that. This was even huge in Australia. Oh my gosh. Shout out to everybody from Australia. Oh my goodness. Carol, thank you for becoming a member. Thank you, Carol. Shout out to you. And Flor, thank you for being a member for 3 months. Shout out to you, Flor. Y'all remember that? I don't know why I remember that specific. Was that Rabbit? Yes. I remember, and it was dismissed. Y'all remember there was a witness who said, I saw a pregnant, why is that in my head? I saw a pregnant woman walking a dog. I remember that. I'm going to have to find that somewhere. See, all of this is making me want to piece things together. We might have to piece this one together.
He couldn't.
He said he had shock jocks with bullhorns screaming murderer. I swear, man. That was back in 2004, 2003, and shit ain't never changed. The only thing is we have YouTube now.
Live in his home.
Now, it is like crazy to see a Barbara Walters interview circa 2004. Like that is crazy. He stopped showing up to the searches. There was many people came forward saying that they saw her. They used some, but not all. They only use one that fit their timeline. The prosecution did, right? I do remember that because there was people that said that they saw a dog and a pregnant woman. If y'all remember, the dog was also part of this situation. That's Karen said. I'm not saying he's innocent, but I really think there's enough reasonable doubt for this to go back to trial and for more evidence to be brought to the courts that was left out. All right. Let me stop right here, okay? Gypsy Rose has been paroled. We've had a lot of crazy true crime news, okay? Let me just put that out there, right? Y'all imagine if Scott Peterson is released this year? Can you guys imagine what would happen? Selena's killer is going to be released in 2025. Like, I'd like to know what they have. I'm saying, Lindsay, I'm saying, girl, just think about it. What is going to happen? What if it does happen? I want to go back and figure out, because I'm telling you, this is my brain in 2003. I remember when all this. Unapproachable light. Just think about it. It could happen. People, what if this man actually gets out? Okay? It could happen. Never know. It doesn't mean he's innocent, but there could be a technicality, or they could review evidence and say, you know what, they can't convict on this. We're going to overturn this. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot that can happen in this case. A lot. Maybe he had an infidelity problem. Maybe that's what it is. You know? I mean, y'all are saying in the chat that he was caught with 4 phones, Viagra, $15K, a different wardrobe. What had happened? Like, I'm just saying, look, devil's advocate. Let's just say he didn't, like, If he didn't want to be with Laci and she's pregnant, he wasn't going to leave her, right? Because then he would be the bad guy. So how many affairs? The one that we know of was Amber Frey, because he was talking to her while he was searching for his wife. Remember that? Yeah, yeah. He dyed his hair. He had this whole little, hair dye. I remember when Dennis Rodman had the hair. He also had the hair around that time. I mean, listen. I remember Cisco had the hair too. This is around that time. Truly, it is.
I remembered asking him if he'd ever been married.
He said no. But that wasn't true.
No, I don't
And
think
as
so.
it turns out, Amber's friend who introduced her to Scott found out that he was married and confronted him and said, if you don't tell Amber, I will. So Scott did tell Amber.
Scott knew Amber for 16 days when he got caught being married.
I've been looking for a product like this my whole
I'm gonna have to get this premium. I can't do it right now. I hate it when the commercials are there. I personally think Laci knew. You think Laci knew about the affairs? Like she was like, whatever, he's just having an affair. This is crazy. Like that was a part that I understand about Amber Frey's story, and that's coming back to me, is how she didn't know until she saw the news. Like I guess he never told her. I think he kept her in the dark. Who's going to say, excuse me, I'm misreading your comment. Who's to say it wasn't an open marriage? That's another point. Who's to say that she didn't know, or that Laci Peterson? I personally, I'm like, I don't know if she would have stayed, But you're right. I don't know. Who's to say it wasn't an open marriage that her and Scott had? Or that he was allowed to cheat, or that she knew and she just ignored it. It could be different things, right? But it made national news. Okay, so I put a poll and I asked you guys a question. I meant to say, did Laci Peterson know about the affair? But it says, do Laci Peterson know? Excuse my typo. Did Laci Peterson know about the affair, in your opinion and your thought? Now, I don't know anything. This is just asking you guys a question, okay? And while you're voting, please hit the like button, because it helps with the algorithm. So open marriage, then why kill her? Laci didn't have to know for it to be an open marriage. It's true. Well, what if he didn't kill her? That's what I'm saying, yo, guys. Is it possible that Scott Peterson is going to be released? Everybody right now is talking about Gypsy Rose. If Scott Peterson is released, that's like if Chris Watts was allowed to walk out of jail right now, or prison. Honestly, I mean, there's a difference in the cases, don't get me wrong, but if you think about it, Scott was convicted. He basically annihilated his wife and the child that she was carrying. So he's like a family annihilator. So was Chris Watts, right? He annihilated his family. So I'm just thinking, can y'all imagine? And you know what, Molly? That is how I found out about Nancy Grace. That's how I found out about Nancy Grace. It was watching some of this stuff. I didn't follow her like that, but when she gave commentary to this, that's how I learned about her. Chris Watts pled. Scott always claimed innocent. That's true, Bunny. True. I don't know, you guys. This would be, and if there's one thing that Scott he likes attention too. I don't know. He likes women, apparently. I don't know. I remember that call. Y'all remember when he told that girl he was at the Eiffel Tower in Paris? Y'all remember that? Simply Monica says, if you think about it, Scott Peterson lied just as much as Chris Watts. So what does that tell you? I know. Look at you guys in the comments. You guys are really going in on these comments. Scott told Amber Laci was dead long before she was dead. Thank you, CN Red Flags. How did Scott know that she was dead? Or was he just saying that to her to try to keep her as a mistress? I think she means the notoriety is on the same level, not necessarily the cases were the same. Yes, Vic, I'm sorry. Notoriety is on the same. Who said that the cases were the same? Amber sounds like a woman scorned. Ooh. Biggest cases were a convicted guy happened near a David Cam. We all thought he was guilty. Oh, wow. Y'all remember, you guys remember Bunny Buddy? Remember that? The Paris thing? Why would he tell Amber she was dead if it was sanctioned affair. I don't know. Nobody wants an innocent man in jail for life. If the case was as bad, I surely think most people would have had an issue with him getting a fair trial. So was he set up? I don't know. I listen. Jane says Chris Watts' mother says he's innocent. Well, that's bad. That's bad, right? But that's a whole different case. Everybody processes grief and shock differently. He said he had a dead wife. What? Yeah. There was a lot that was said in those calls and whatnot. You said Amber made a lot of money off of it. That part. He said she was dead. All right. I don't think you can compare the two because there's evidence in Scott's case, like there was in Chris's. Yeah, I'm meaning in the sense of like family annihilators, not in the case per se, just because like they're different cases clearly, but in the actions and also the level of media. Scott Peterson and Chris Watts, it was the same kind of media coverage, if not. I would probably say Scott Peterson, Laci Peterson got more simply because of just the reporters being here, whereas here on YouTube and all these other sources, they were out there. But yes, Aldo Rivera, oh man, a classic, crazy Geraldo Rivera. Kiva, thank you for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So the survey just took me out. Laci cheated? No, Laci didn't cheat. So for those that are coming in, there was some breaking news. The Innocence Project, at least a branch of the Innocence Project in LA, is helping out the Scott Peterson case. If you know anything about the Innocence Project, they take on cases that they know have a sure way of actually being overturned. So what I had proposed to everybody, not proposed, but I had asked everybody, like, listen, we just had Gypsy Rose. Is it Scott Peterson? I mean, she's paroled and she's got like 2 more years as well, so she's not really off the hook. But like, is Scott Peterson is this case going to get overturned? Like, what's going to happen? Right? You just never know. And Kate says recommendations for podcasts with viewpoints is innocent. Let me tell you something. I listened to something 3 years ago, and I have to go back and check. But if you go to if you guys have an Apple phone, you know how you have the podcasts on the Apple phone. Search Scott Peterson, and something will come up there in terms of his questioning and whatnot, or excuse me, his case and him hearing the other side. Attorneys have been out there pulling this case apart, talking about the fact that he's actually innocent. So to me, this came to no surprise. I just didn't know it was going to happen this year. Just like, wow. Yeah. Okay. Let me see who else. Who else I needed to greet somebody. I think we got everybody. Okay. Yes. Netflix had a doc on his case with people from both sides. According to the IP, among their claims of the newly discovered evidence, including new potential suspects, they say will prove Peterson did not kill his wife or unborn child. Well, and here's the deal, though. If there were other people that the prosecution, because it didn't align with their timeline, did not interview, the Innocence Projects, thank you, did not align with their murder timeline, just imagine, like, who can come out and actually interview or do something, so it's a huge thing. Is his case going to get overturned? I'm just saying.
Instantly, as soon as
Lord have mercy. Y'all see those bullhorns out there? They call them the shock jock protesters. It Talks Baby Girl says his attorneys are also requesting dozens of items of evidence that they say they have either never seen or unable to locate. See, that's the thing. It's like, what do they have? Some of which are said to be connected to a burglary in the area. Gotcha. Okay. Near the Peterson home, as well as evidence recovered from a van fire in 2002. See? You never know. But see, it's Modesto. My goodness. I hate Tinkle Tits. San Francisco isn't near Modesto. It's like 2 hours away. It is about 2 hours away. For the body to have been washed up where went fishing and is insane. Too much coincidences. He had a screw loose. He was talking about well, I mean, Was it prescribed? Was his Viagra? And $1 million question. Did you murder his wife? They offered him the Alford plea. Would people still think he's innocent if he took it, or guilty? Shell, that is a great question. Did they offer it to him? And so here's the deal. Amber Frey's book is, let me see. Well, it's got at least a 4-star rating. Amber Frey's book is called Witness for the Prosecution of Scott Peterson by Amber Frey. Okay? Y'all can find it in your local Barnes & Nobles for $7.99. She made a lot of money off of this book. All right? And she starts with the Bible verse. Yeah. It's amazing. It's a hypothetical, but it's a good question, I think. What exactly is it called on Netflix? I get the Staircase guy. Now, the Staircase one is a very interesting one. So let me look it up on Netflix. All right, let's do this. I have not seen the one on Netflix. Should we do a review on it? I mean, I want to go back and look at, I feel like An American Murder Mystery. I think that's what it's called on Netflix. Scott Peterson, An American Murder Mystery. You can also find it on Prime as well. I want to go back and pull. I want to look at all these old interviews. I'm sure other creators are probably going to do that as well. Try to see, put things together, because you know how we do it here. There's also one on Hulu. Oh, Lord, there's lots of them. There's lots of them. I will look into it. I have to figure, I want to read Amber Frey's book. I'm kind of curious to know. Peterson told another former mistress from early in his marriage that he had no intention of having children because they would get in the way of his lifestyle. Wow. Even though the mom said that they had been trying for 3 years. I bet that this would be an awesome video where we kind of list out all the inconsistencies versus what people said, she said, they said, whoever said in the reports. I'm so down to do a video like that. That'd be awesome. I might work on that. It's going to take me a minute to do, though. Yes. Baby Connor was found and Laci's body was never fully recovered. Well, now with that burned van, what if she was killed in the van and then put in the water? I mean, we don't know. I want to see I wonder if they have any of the interrogation videos. Scott Peterson interrogation. Let's see if they have that. Cause that, my friend, ooh, yes they do. Infinite TV. I mean, Oxygen has them. The Archive, A&E, of course. Now I remember watching a lot of A&E on this. This was newly discovered interrogation tapes of Scott Peterson merged. This was 6 years ago, you guys.
Hi, this is Mark Barton at Sandy Hook Promise.
Like, what? Whoa. Hold up.
Since Laci Peterson, a mom-to-be from Modesto, California, was reported missing.
And tonight, Dateline NBC takes a fresh look at that infamous case through exclusive new interviews and newly discovered interrogation tapes. Here's Dateline's Keith Morrison.
It has definitely been a roller coaster since December 24th, 2002. There's many times that I get up in the morning and I just go back to bed.
Laci Peterson's mother, Sharon Rocha, told us her days of hiding under covers are fewer now, but there is still no escaping the pain that began on Christmas Eve 2002 with a phone call from her son-in-law, Scott.
It was close to 6:15. He called and he said she was missing.
And that's how it began, the search for Laci Peterson, the one the whole country heard about.
We're still actively out trying to find a missing female alive.
What we didn't see back then was...
Tell me about the morning. Okay. I don't know what time I got up. Probably Laci got up and went and assumed she had to show up for breakfast.
Here's Scott Peterson being questioned by the first detective on the case. 1 a.m., Christmas Day, 2002.
When did you realize you were going to go fishing? Well, that was a morning decision. It's either go play golf with the club or go fishing. Okay. So what you're telling me, Scott, is you have no idea where this is.
Never once did he say, "Oh my God, where is Laci? No. Where could she be? I hope she's okay. I hope she's not harmed." Never, ever,
You were
ever.
feeling that panic. Even as you talk about it, you can see a little bit of it left.
Yes.
He did not seem to have that sense?
He did not have it.
The police suspected Scott from the beginning, but Laci's mom did not. Refused to believe it until she turned up.
Okay, first of all, I met Scott Peterson November 20th, 2002. Scott told me he was not married. We did have a romantic relationship.
She was Amber Frey. Amber secretly helped the police by recording her calls with Scott.
As soon as I plug in her little recorder, the phone rings.
He called.
Oh boy.
Amber. Hey. Hey there? I can barely hear you.
They were just like, wow, I can't believe he's calling you right now.
Hey, I'll be in Paris tomorrow. I'm outside. I'm annoyed with you right now. And hopefully the phone is better.
Like, why lie about where he was at? That's what I want to know. Like, why would you lie about that when you were you're searching for your wife? Why lie to this woman? So he's just a pathological liar? Like, okay, he could have cheated, he could have been a shitty husband, whatever, but like, why lie about his location? He called her. She didn't call him. He called her and lied. He lied about everything. So why should we believe? That is the question, is why should we believe that the Innocence Project is going to have anything? But I guess they're asking, so I don't know. I mean, take it for what it's worth.
Amber Frey. Her recordings, her testimony were the key. And with the whole country watching, Scott Peterson was convicted of murdering his wife,
True.
Laci, and their unborn son,
True.
Carter.
I'm never going to get over this. I don't say how any parent will ever get over it. You just have to get through it.
I remember covering that story.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's still on death row to this day.
Yes, he is.
That was 6 years ago. All right, so let me stop right here. What do you guys think about this news? What do you guys make of it? Listen. No, you're right, Vic. What is he going to say? I met my wife. I'm searching for my wife. I met my, yeah, that's true. I'm going to, I'll put it on the community wall, what you guys want to look at. Maybe we can review Amber Frey's book. I want to go back. I want to see what they have. I want to see it all. I mean, it should all be available online. It shouldn't be that hard to get anything with Scott Peterson at this point. But I am kind of curious to know. Maybe this man is going to have his conviction overturned. And if he's innocent, and he's just a shitty person because he lied, I don't know. But keep in mind the Innocence Project. I want to know. Yeah, I'm waiting on whatever. Me too, Bunny. Me too. Because I want to know, and the people want to know. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. Tomorrow, I have a very interesting interview / conversation with an attorney regarding the Son of Sam laws pertaining to Gypsy Rose. Some of you guys have been asking, should she be profiting? How is she allowed to profit from the story and all the stuff that has happened? Make sure you are on for tomorrow. Hit the like button and subscribe. I will see you guys on the next one. And I plan to look further into Scott Peterson, and we will see what happens with that. We want to know. I want to know what they have, because they accepted it. So that says a lot. See you guys on the next one. Rabbits out.